Hey kids, how did everyone sleep?
Good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do you feel well rested? Oh, James looks like he is.
I slept great.
Yeah? I'm glad to hear it. It's pleasant to hear all the birds chirping, huh? Lydia, what did you sleep with all night? Were your hands nice and warm?
Uh-huh.
Oh, great. Hey kids, have you had a fun time here at Mammoth Cave?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm not leaving.
We are leaving this morning.
I'm not leaving.
They've had a ton of fun. And we're just heating up some water for some oatmeal for breakfast. And then we're going to be packing up our vehicles and heading out today. And our plan for today is we have about 7 hours and 11 minutes total of driving estimated on a Better Route Planner. And along the way, we're going to go over to eastern Tennessee and see the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And that's the only other thing we have besides that driving. So hopefully we have enough extra hours in between throughout the waking hours today to do that. Obviously, it partially depends on how quickly we get out of here this morning, because that will diminish our time available for the other things. And then this evening, we'll be camping right on the edge next to North Carolina. It's been a fun trip with our friends. We're saying goodbye. And the car is all charged up. It got up to 100% about 7:30, and we're leaving a little later than that at 10, so it's now down to 99%. But that's more than enough, and we're going to be driving for a ways.
All right. Enjoy the rest
if I look at the whole itinerary for the day,
right.
This is not showing the whole day, but we're going to be going to this supercharger and then over here to the Pigeon Forge supercharger. And then we'll be investigating, looking at the Smoky Mountain National Park that is right here. And then from there, we'll come down to a place that's just some camping, boondocking space that is, I think, right here, near the tri-state intersection right there. In any case, I'll show you more details as we go, but this first segment, we're going to be driving for a ways. That number is not accurate, though, because it has us going across the ferry, and it seems to add on like half an hour for that, which probably is needed sometimes. So regardless, this is all the stats. So far for the trip, we've gone 2,000 miles. We're at 391 watt-hours per mile on average for the whole trip, which is really high, but we do have the roof box on, which I've shown in earlier videos. But yeah, this is adding some aerodynamic drag for sure. As well, potentially a tiny bit to these mud flaps, which I will talk about later. But we're gonna get on the road. See you guys. We are seeing some beautiful countryside here in Kentucky as we head on down south. And you can see over here, we're getting closer to the state line to go back into Tennessee. Wow, gorgeous countryside views. We are now in Tennessee, and there are a lot of hills that have been blasted through, and so you can see the cliffs here on the side. And I've been surprised at how many of these there are through this section now. Just many, just keeps going. There's just this constant cliffs where they've cut off the tops of the hills. And then bridges as well for some of the big ravines. How was the drive been going today?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Awesome. We are now at the supercharger here at Crossville, Tennessee, and it peaked at just over like 204 kilowatts just a moment ago. We're here at 38%. We are going to be charging here for just a short period of time, and then we'll continue on our way to the Pigeon Forge supercharger. When we get to Pigeon Forge, that will be our last charge of the day, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be here for just a little bit, it's just enough to get there, and then we'll charge up there more fully. And this is what our energy consumption looks like over the last 30 miles. It actually got pretty high as we were going up and down a lot of hills, but for a while there, it was down in the low 200 watt-hours per mile range, which is surprisingly low considering our trip overall. And then our watt-hours per mile has dropped down to 389. That's the average over 2,100 miles. This is a really pleasant supercharger stop. The kids and Jessica are going in there to use the restroom. This is a winery, actually, it looks like. And the superchargers are just here off to the side. And then you can see that they've got grapevines right here. So that's kind of cool. Of course, also my enjoyment of the location is helped by the fact that it's really nice weather here. It's just in the low 70s and sunny. What is that, Clara? Just some old dishes? It's an antique store. We've only been here for a short few minutes, and just as fast as we could go in, use the bathrooms, and come right back out. And it's already saying it's time to go, which is not surprising. We're at 79 kilowatts, 68% on the battery, and the car is estimating that we'll get to the next supercharger at 32%. Wow, that's really high. Not really sure why we even needed to come here. Regardless, we did, and we took a break. We needed to take a break from the drive we just did anyway. And so now we're going to drive for nearly 2 hours, and then we'll get to the Pigeon Forge Supercharger. Hey girls,
Huh?
do you see that gorilla on the side of the building?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What is that, I wonder?
Wood.
There's something going on over there. We are now at the Pigeon Forge Supercharger. It's in the parking lot here of downtown Flavortown, I guess. And it's definitely a resort town slash tourist vacation destination. I have routed us to our intended camping destination, and you can see down here, this right here is the tri-state intersection, Georgia down here. If I zoom out a bit, you can see that this is the North Carolina tip sticking out, and then on the southwest side of this location, it's Georgia. And as it stands right now, we have enough charge to get to our camping destination. But once we're done with camping, we still then have to have enough range to then drive down this highway right here. And then we're going to be hitting up a supercharger, I think that's down in this area. In fact, I can bring that up right there. Yeah, so you can see it right there. We're going to be driving down. So yeah, right now we could actually unplug and go at 54%. I want lots of safety margin, and we're not pressed for time right now. So anytime we're going to be going overnight on our itinerary between charges, and we're not going to be charging where we're staying, then I always want safety margin, because there's a little bit of energy loss overnight, especially as the battery cools. And potentially if the circumstances where we're camping it's really cold or really hot, maybe we'd get in the car and camp in it, some of us or something, and that would take some energy. And it's nice peace of mind for me just knowing if you're really far from civilization, which I think we will be when we camp, that we have plenty of energy to get us in and out of that remote location. One other thing I noticed at this supercharger location is this icon. This is the Wi-Fi icon, and I was a little surprised to see that. And it's connected to Wi-Fi, and I'm like, what? I've never seen that before, actually. It says right here, this supercharger offers free Wi-Fi, and I've never run into this before. I didn't know this was even a thing. So that's a pleasant surprise, not that we really need it at the moment. Although we do have a software update that just started showing up, so now I assume that's downloading. But I generally don't install software updates while we're on a road trip, just because of the risk of if there's something that goes amiss, it could mess up our itinerary. I'm right here on the side of the Flavortown building I showed earlier, and I'm a little bit surprised. Like, this is one of the coolest supercharger stops we've ever stopped at, with so much going on right here in the parking lot where the supercharger is located. So that's kind of fun. This is inside Flavortown, and there's a lot going on. You see there's a gift store there, there's an arcade, show car for some reason. And then over this way, I guess there's a whole gaming center over that way. And so it's kind of like Dave & Buster's that way maybe. And then they've got a bar here. And then around the corner, over this direction, there's a bowling alley. And right here is the restaurant, part of the restaurant, and then the bowling alley over this direction. Oh, and I forgot to mention there's a merchandise or a gift store there at the entrance of the restaurant. Right now I have us routed all the way down to our campsite, and then down to the supercharger after that. And right now it's estimating that we would get to that other supercharger at 31%. So we have plenty of safety margin, but regardless of the safety margin, we're going to go ahead and get more safety margin, because the kids are over here eating a snack, and we don't really need to go anywhere really quickly. So we'll see how long this takes for the snacks to be eaten, and then we'll get in the car and we'll have plenty of range for what we need to do. And I also really love this backdrop of the hills and mountains, and maybe you saw in the time lapse that the roads through here were crazy windy, both vertically and horizontally, in combination of both. And all the way through there, it's just a beautiful view of all these Smoky Mountains. The car is now up to 84%, and it's estimating that we'll get to the next supercharger at 46%, and so that's more than enough. And then also I navigated us to the Sugarlands Visitor Center for the Smoky Mountain National Park, and it has us getting there at 4:20 p.m. And then it warned me that it might be closing soon. So I looked it up on Google Maps, and indeed it closes at 4:30, which I did not realize it closed so really early. So that's really early to be closing in my opinion, but we're gonna hurry and get in the car and get there before it closes. Well, I don't claim to know why, but there is a ton of traffic here near the visitor center. Luckily we were able to find a spot, even though the parking lot's mostly full. And we are hurrying in to get information about this area before the visitor center closes. Wow, I mean, we drove past like a mile or two of just backed up cars, bumper to bumper, driving by. I don't really know why. It looks like it's open until 5, so that gives us half an hour, or I guess 40 minutes. This is the visitor center. Well, we're done with the visitor center. We talked to a ranger and got an idea of some things to go see and do. He also explained that the traffic over here is built up just because that's actually pretty normal. This being the most visited national park in the country, it tends to have a lot of visitation, and this weekend apparently is a holiday weekend. Yeah, it's Easter weekend, so I guess people go to national parks for Easter. In any case, there's a lot of people here. So we're gonna just keep on driving through the park and go see some things that he recommended we go check out. It's a tunnel, girls. Are you all holding your breath? You made it. This is a section of road called Chimney Tops Trail. Oh, that's the trailhead, but it's just basically a loop in the road. So this is similar to Mount Rushmore and how they have a couple of pigtail curly Q loops. Here's a tunnel, girls. So we're going to be going around on top of that here in just a moment.
Isn't that cool? So we just did a big loop, and now we're on top of that road right there. You see out James's side?
Are you ready for the tunnel, girls?
3, 2,
Take a deep breath.
1.
Oh, that's not very long.
Use lights. What?
There was a sign saying use lights, and we're like, oh, must be a long tunnel.
It wasn't long.
Not at all.
Look at the energy consumption. It's clearly going up in elevation a lot. We're pulling in here to the Newfound Gap Overlook parking lot, and obviously it's a very popular place. This is a giant parking lot. So we're gonna pull in and check it out. Tennessee, North Carolina state line, elevation 5,000 feet. Okay, cool. All right, we found a parking spot, and definitely there's a cool view here. So let's get out, girls, and see the view. Are you excited? Show me your excitement.
Yeah!
Oh, waking up James. Definitely has a cool view, but unfortunately the trees are completely brown right now, just because we're here in the spring and the leaves haven't come out yet, I guess. So we're gonna go over here and check out the North Carolina Tennessee state line, and then probably go up there and see that view, and then we'll continue on our way. I'm in Tennessee.
I'm in Tennessee. I'm in North Carolina. Dad, I'm in 2 states.
At the same time.
Yeah, I'm in 2 states at the same time.
That's great.
The Newfound Gap is the only direct route through the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, okay. So this stone rock area there is where Franklin Roosevelt dedicated this park in 1940, and it's got some other information here there about that. You just pause it if you want to read that on the screen. So this is also a part of the Appalachian Trail, and you can see it's indicating where we are here on the trail, and then this overlay shows all the different states that the Appalachian Trail is part of. Obviously we're down this region right here. Pretty cool. Here's some more information about this and some of the distances. Would you want to hike 1,972 miles? No? But if you did, you'd be able to get up to Maine.
I know.
Yeah? Do you want to do this someday?
I learned about this in school.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you learn about it?
That it goes through a bunch of states.
Yeah, do you want to see which states? Come over this way. So this is considered the beginning of the trail, I guess, and then this star is where we're located, and it goes up through all of these states, all the way up to Maine. That would be a long, long trail. And we're actually pretty close to the beginning of it, right? So this says almost 2,000 miles, and it's even more than that. Do you want to do this trail someday? No? Yes? Maybe. Yeah, I agree with that. We've started going downhill, down mountain on the other side, and this is a pretty extreme example of showing all of the regen braking. And you can see here especially how it's going up instead of down, and that's obviously because we're going down in elevation for a long period of time, and it's regenerating so much electricity that it's causing a significant increase in the battery. Here it's at 68%, but it's gone up, I'm pretty sure, a couple of percent by this point. And you can see this, green bar right there is just showing that constant level of regen. And we can also see it here on this app that's showing right now that the reinverter is adding 25 or 23, 22 kilowatts to the battery. Obviously that's variable. But yeah, it's just interesting and fun. Regen braking is fantastic in the mountains. We already know that from Utah. And yet we're here in the Great Smoky Mountains and experiencing the same awesome regen that is very helpful for obviously regenerating energy for additional range, but also I don't have to use the friction brakes at all, and it's just holding us steady and generating power at the same time. And also looking at the consumption graph, you can see we had extreme consumption going up the mountain, and now we're getting extreme regen going down the other side. Girls, you see the moose?
Yay!
Yeah?
I saw one moose.
Right there, look.
There was another one farther back, both female. Cool, we saw a moose, girls.
Moose!
We've now stopped at this mountain farm museum area. You can see there's some museum buildings out that way, old farm buildings. And then this is a visitor center here as well. I assume it's closed. So we're parked and we're gonna go see those old buildings over that way. Should we go check out these buildings, girls? What a beautiful place, and the weather's perfect. It's really a perfect temperature right now. So this is a trail, it goes for 1.5 miles, but we don't have time to do that. But it's a beautiful view. You can see the girls running way out there, just enjoying this huge meadow. Oh, actually, I just realized there's some elk way on the other side. I'll zoom in with my phone camera. Is this such a beautiful spot? Yeah.
I thought those elk were gonna eat you.
Oh, there's some chickens over there. Let's go explore these houses. We don't have a lot of time. The sun is going to be setting about half an hour after we get to our campsite if we don't spend a lot of time here.
10 gallons of juice yielded about 1 gallon of molasses. Long sweetening, as it was called, was used in recipes like syrup.
Mom, there's a hole right there.
So then down here, you see all the charcoal. So they had wood burning down here, heating up the undersurface of that. So this is boiling as it flows down that way. It's pretty cool. So there's a river over here. We're gonna go check it out.
A good spring that met the need and also provided a means for keeping perishable foods. Oh, so water came out of a spring, flowed through this house in a rock line. So they would line a channel on the floor with an elevated wooden trough like the one in this structure. Containers of perishable food, like dairy products, were placed in the trough and were refrigerated by the cold water flowing around them. So they'd make the river go through here, and then they'd keep stuff in this trough that you can see through the cracks. So the river would be going through it, keeping it cold.
What a beautiful spot this is. Beautiful weather and beautiful scenery for sure. This is a confluence of two rivers. I'm not sure exactly which rivers they are. Pretty view though. And then over that way, across the river, right past the girls' heads, there's some elk. Oh, and there's some elk in the river over that way.
Well, maybe over there, but
Yeah.
I don't want you to get muddy either.
What do you think, Lydia?
I've seen 8 elk.
8 elk?
Yep.
That's awesome. They're all throughout the woods on the other side. What did you find, girls?
A wagon.
Wow, that's a cool old wagon, huh?
It can seat 3 people.
Oh, they got several different wagons across here. Hey, look, it's a live trap.
What?
This trap is for catching animals alive.
Wait, what?
That's a really big one.
This one?
Yeah.
How does it work?
So you see this right here? You push this back and it's spring loaded, and then you lift this up. So once this is pushed back, then you can lift up on this. And then there's some release mechanism somewhere that holds it. I don't see it. Might not be a functioning trap. And then see that plate down there? When the animal puts their weight down on that, oh, I see the release mechanism is this wire right here on the side. See that diagonal wire? It's connected down there and comes up here. And this right here is that.
Oh,
And you see how there's a hook right here? That hook is what holds the door up. The moment the animal puts their weight on that lever, it makes this whole thing release and traps them in there. All right, let's keep exploring. But now it's just full of dusty tools. A museum of its era. And this would be where they stored their hay and stuff.
How do you think the people would get up there?
They probably had a ladder somewhere.
Oh,
They-
there.
Oh yeah, there's a ladder there now.
Go down.
No, definitely not. The park rangers would definitely not want us up there.
I know.
So girls, this is what's called a corn crib. And as it talks about here, it houses the family's most important crop, which is corn, which was for both humans and livestock. And this is the corn crib right here. Yeah, it's just a big open, empty space. Can you see it, Lydia?
All the corn.
Don't get your head stuck.
It can't go through, Clara.
And then girls, this is the apple house where they stored their apples to be eaten when they were ready to eat them. That's a much bigger building. Oh, you see them? Oh.
Real or fake?
They're fake. I can see their plastic apples. Looks like this is the main house of this ranch. That is really cool looking. What do you think of that house, girls? Would you want to live there? Yeah? Where it looks like they still are actively chopping wood, huh? Would you girls want to live here?
No.
Just visit? It's a beautiful place. That's where they went to the bathroom.
No, it's called an outhouse.
Yep.
I want to go see it. Yeah. I get it. They have a plastic thing over the lid of the toilet.
I'm not surprised.
Dad, is it kind of
Yes.
like a porta potty or a pit toilet?
Lucy,
Open.
would you want to use that as your bathroom?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
It would be very flyous.
It would be full of flies, that's for sure.
Done.
All right, let's go back to the car. These are Canadian geese. You've seen how many?
10 elk and 2 of those.
And 2 mooses.
2 gooses.
And this is the other visitor center. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. I'll leave that up to you in the comments to put a pronunciation guide on that name. We are approaching our campsite. It's actually 34 minutes away still, but I just want to show this road. There's a ravine on the side, and over here on the side is all those rocky cliffs, and the trees looks crazy. Here's another spot of just really cool rock wall.
Oh, there's a waterfall.
And there's a waterfall apparently that I can't see down there.
You can barely see it.
Maybe it's these falls right here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's Bust Your Butt Falls.
This is called Bridalveil Falls. We have a Bridalveil Falls by us.
Is that pretty, girls?
It'd be fun to go walk around in that cave, huh?
But we got to get to our camping site. And at this point, we are 21 minutes away, or 10 miles. The road has turned into a gravel road, and we still have a mile and a half, so it's really not that far on the gravel.
Use your
But
opponent's
the view
anger
is really
against
cool
them.
as the sun is
Taunt them
setting.
until they are...
All right, so this is the point on the map where I had seen there was dispersed camping available. So we're just now passing that marker. Oh, and here is a place. So there's somebody already here. And actually, it looks like, yeah, there's one across the way. I'm gonna back up here real quick. And there's a spot there. Actually, it's some picnic tables, but we're going to keep exploring and see what our options are around here before we commit. There's a road here that apparently has dispersed camping along it. Here's a sign, the Blue Valley Experimental Forest. Farther up the road here, it says Blue Valley Campground, and so that's it just there in front of us. So here on this plaque, it says 14-day limit and nothing else there. So I think it's a free dispersed camping area. And so we'll just explore and see if there's any spots available. You can see there's some people right there, already here. Well, there's a sign there for Glen Falls, and that's a hike. And then this is a turnaround area that we're in. And we've seen a couple of other pullouts, but somebody was already camping in all of them that we've seen so far. So you can see this is how far up into the mountain we went. I'm gonna go back down to that Blue Valley campground area and see what else we can find. We finally found a spot to be. It's not ideal, but we went all the way up to the ends of both forks in the road, and there were lots of sites and they were already taken. This is the main road that goes off that direction, and this is a little offshoot. And down here is at the end the normal site that people use. And there's already people there, of course, as you can see. But we have this additional alcove over this way. And so we're gonna be able to set up our tent in this spot right here. And we're not going to try to do a fire or anything like that. We're just here for a place to be for the night. So we're getting here pretty late. It's getting dark. So we're going to hurry and set up our tent, and then we'll be able to sleep here and continue on our way tomorrow down to Florida.
And
We're unloading the car, putting all of the things into the tent, which we just set up. And conveniently, I have these solar powered floodlights that I showed at our last campsite, and they charged up during the day on the dash of our car while we were driving. And so I've got one on that side, one on this side, just helping to illuminate our space while we're getting everything set up. We don't normally like to arrive at a place this late when it's dark, but you know, life happens. So we're doing this as quickly as we can so we can go to bed. And this is a situation where the Cybertruck would be super handy, and we could be heating up food, in this case water, for our freeze-dried food, which I'm having to use propane here, or butane I guess, and we can't get enough energy quickly enough out of the Model Y because it has no AC outlets. But this works. We brought it along. It's really compact, mostly for backpacking, but it boils water crazy fast. And you can see right here, this is totally full of water, and it will boil it in like 60 seconds, the whole thing. And it's just been a moment, and the water is completely boiling. I just turned off the heat completely, and right here we have some freeze-dried food that we actually made ourselves with our freeze dryer. And this is a really tasty pasta, which doesn't have the label on it anymore because I just ripped it open. But all we have to do is pour this boiling water in there and give it a few minutes, and it'll be great. We normally use this for backpacking, but because we're going on such a long trip, we're trying to keep our weight down and space as well. And so a little backpacking setup is actually a great solution for even just road trip food. So we got the boiling water here, and as you can see, we've got our pasta. If you get close here, Jess, this is, I forget the name of it. It starts with an cavatappi. Yeah, pasta. So I'm not totally sure how much water to add, so I'm just going to add some. I'm actually going to do it over here so I don't spill in the car. But just pour in some water, and then it will reconstitute these noodles in just a couple of minutes. And then it tastes good. I can already smell it. If this isn't enough water, I can always boil more real quick.
Stay here and eat it. No.
Girls, how's your dinner?
Good. Great.
Delicious?
It tastes real. Yeah. And good at the same time.
Okay, I'll take it. Is that delicious, James?
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, you love it?
Yeah, guys.
Mom, have some more for me.
Open your mouth, quick.
There you go.
Beans, magical fruit.
We have finished our dinner and setting up our campsite and everything, and we're going to be turning in soon. But I was rushed when we got here, so I don't think gave an update on the car and where we arrived at. So we arrived at 37% on the battery, and we did a little bit of extra driving around that we didn't originally anticipate. If we zoom in here on the map, and I'll actually just do an overlay, because we went up a fork and there was just spots that were taken all the way up, and so we went up a different fork, and that's where we are now. And finally found a tiny spot, but it's working for us. We probably would have been at 41% if we could have found one of the first spots that we found. So I've routed us to where we're going to tomorrow, which is the Congaree National Park over here in central South Carolina. And you can see it's routing us here to this supercharger, which is the Piedmont, South Carolina supercharger. And that's great because we originally, I was thinking we maybe would need to go down to this one, which is the Fair Play South Carolina supercharger. I just simply had thought that simply because it's the closest one to where we're currently camped. But as you can see, if we're trying to go to Congaree National Park, that would be a bit of a deviation and it would add some travel time. And right now it's estimating that we'll be able to get to this supercharger in Piedmont at 15% on the battery. So we might lose 1% or 2% overnight, but I'll turn off Sentry mode so we don't lose very much. And we'll be able to do that, and it'll be a shorter drive tomorrow, so that's great. And then after Congaree National Park, we will continue on south, and we'll be staying down at a family member's house in the Orlando, Florida area tomorrow. Hey Clara, are you ready to go to sleep? I think she's already dozing off. Are you excited for our little tent adventure tonight?
Yeah!
This is our first time the whole family is in this tent together. We have Jessica, James, and Lucy over here on the queen size air mattress, and Lydia's over here on another mattress, and then Clara and I are over here on these different kind of backpacking air mattress. So we're all comfy and cozy, and it's actually a really nice temperature here. We're gonna go to sleep. See you in the morning.